You know, ever since my wife introduced me to Studio Ghibli movies many years ago, I can't help but sit back in awe at the beautiful craftsmanship that goes into each and every frame of film. The animation is gorgeous but simple. The backgrounds are filled with detail that just makes you want to go out into nature and stare at a tree because of the pure artistry that into making them. It also makes me wonder why there are not more studios in Hollywood that just don't use the amazing storytelling that Hayao Miyazaki has done with his team and use them for their benefit in their films. And whenever I watch one of these movies, I can't help but question how America feels that representation is more important than just telling a great story of growth and self sacrifice for the sake of making something better. I mean, Hollywood thinks representation is important, but I say the box office bombs that have been becoming more and more of a regular thing goes to show that Hollywood's message just isn't being received, but rather rejected. And for that, I'm grateful. We want films with character of substance, heroes that truly represent everything that is heroic, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So come along with me, my inquisitive viewers, as I talk about the character Ashitaka from one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films, Princess Mononoke. So before I begin, I just want to warn you that I'll be talking about major spoilers of this film. So if you haven't had the chance to see it already, I highly recommend you pause this video, go watch it, then come back and see if I say it is something you agree with or disagree. There are 8 things that are absolutely essential for a character or person to be considered a hero. Number 1. Heroes love to learn. The film introduces Ashitaka, a young man and the future ruler of his hidden Amish village on a peaceful day. But everything changes when a demon that was once the boar god Kami comes in a blind rage to kill anything that stands in its way, threatening the safety of his people. Ashitaka fights the demon and kills it, but becomes infected with a curse as a result from an iron ball that is discovered in the dead god's remains. Because of this act of bravery, Ashitaka is banished, leaving everything behind. His mission is to now find the source of where the iron ball came from, and hopefully put a stop to it before more damage is done to anyone else. Throughout the film, we see Ashitaka actively listening to many people, listening to their thoughts and opinions. He learns about a Lady Eboshi, and he sees what her thoughts and goals are. He listens to those that live in Iron Town, and hears of a young wild woman who wants to kill Lady Eboshi. Each time Ashitaka learns or hears something new, he never takes a side or keeps it inside. He processes it and remains neutral to both sides. Lady Eboshi versus San. Despite his pure intentions, many times he is vilified or mocked of being naive by both sides, thinking his thoughts to be a fantasy, when all he is trying to do is bring peace to everyone. Number 2. Heroes do not delight in bloodshed. Ashitaka throughout the entire film never draws his sword or bow first. He always takes the peaceful side. My favorite scene is when Lady Eboshi and San are fighting. The village is on fire, but everyone is too focused on the fight between the two women to care about it. Ashitaka becomes enraged by the conflict of how much hate these two women have towards each other, that is, in fact, infecting their own people. This rage within causes the infection in his arm to spread, which gives him great superhuman strength. As he makes his way through the crowd, he knocks both Lady Eboshi and San unconscious in order for the fight to cease. He walks out, San over his shoulder. The crowd refuse to let him leave, but he calmly states that he walked in and he will walk out. He is then shot through the chest accidentally by one of the women of the village, but he refuses to lash out in anger or hate, but calmly walks out into the night. Time and time again, Ashitaka faces trials that put him into the position to either avoid the conflict or to defend himself, or defend the lives of others, and every time he chooses bloodshed as the last resort. This is what heroes do. Number 3. Heroes find joy in their country's freedom and liberty. There are many times this is demonstrated by Ashitaka, like when he faces off against the boar demon in the beginning of the film, or when Lady Eboshi's Iron Town is under attack by the Emperor's samurai. I'd say the best example of Ashitaka's demonstration is at the climax of the film. Lady Eboshi has achieved her goal and shoots off the head of the great forest spirit, causing the decapitated deity to become enraged and begins to kill everything its body touches as it searches for its head. Ashitaka does everything in his power to return the head, clearly recognizing that it would very well mean the death of him. But if he faltered, it would mean the death of everyone. The elderly monk Jigo is willing to put everyone else's life on the line in order for him to gain power and money that is promised by a mortal emperor. Despite the monk's pleas, Ashitaka refuses to give heed for the sole purpose of retaining everyone's life. This is what heroes do. Number 4. Heroes find joy in their people's freedom from slavery and bondage. As the film is at the climax, Lady Eboshi has left with the Emperor's hunters and monks to find the great forest spirit. With her absence, the Emperor's army comes and attacks Iron Town in order to gain control of the iron works. The people put up a worthy fight against the army, but are needing the leadership of Lady Eboshi. Ashitaka literally changes his course from trying to find San to finding Lady Eboshi. This loyalty that he demonstrates brings hope to all of Iron Town, as well as the audience. His efforts and journey bring him to find the men of Iron Town burying their dead from a war against the Boers. When he delivers the message of Iron Town's plight, it unifies the men, and they rise up against the monks who try to suppress their concerns for the welfare of their own town. They become even more together and make peace with one of San's siblings who's trapped under a dead boar. They recognize the needs of their families and town. It was vital that Lady Eboshi return, and the way to get those results was Ashitaka and the wolf, man and nature, to work together to save the lives of their loved ones. When he finally finds Lady Eboshi, we are surprised to hear that Lady Eboshi has, in a sense, abandoned Iron Town and its people for her own dreams and ambitions. In other words, she was willing to let others die for the sake of her getting ahead. This surprises me each time I watch it, how Ashitaka is stunned by her response. Why would he lie? People are depending on Lady Eboshi, and she is pushing them away for her own selfish reasons. Even though Ashitaka literally spends about 4 hours with the people of Iron Town, he still recognizes the good and freedoms the people deserve. They are given second chances by the kindness of Lady Eboshi, but her selfishness leaves them defenseless, and Ashitaka goes as far as he can to prevent that from happening. This is just what heroes do. Number 5. Heroes are full of gratitude to their god for their privileges and blessings. In the beginning of the film, when the boar god has become a demon, Ashitaka pleads to it to leave in peace. He recognizes the sanctity and deity of the boar god and pleads over and over to be at peace and to, in sense, awaken from the rage that it is in, because it is being misdirected at the wrong people. When Ashitaka enters the forest of the great forest spirit, he recognizes the sanctity of the place and is respectful to its purpose. San is impressed at Ashitaka's love and care for the red elk Yakul, who is loyal to him and a true friend. When the wolf goddess Moro threatens to crush his head, he is respectful to her thoughts and position. Not once does he work against or lashes out at the gods in the world they live in. He pays them respect and honor with his words and his actions. This is what heroes do. Number 6. Heroes work extremely hard for the welfare and safety of their people. At the conclusion of the film, Ashitaka offers his support to help rebuild Irontown, to make it more unified with the world of nature and the world of man. This was his ambition throughout the entirety of the film, trying to speak clarity to both sides of conflict, in order for both to live in peace. He ran over mountains, through battlefields, faced anger and violence, nearly died, for the sake of trying to bring peace and pure perspective to San and Lady Eboshi. I say pure perspective. What I mean is, as the film depicts, the boar god Kami becomes so enraged and becomes a demon. His understanding was clouded. He turns into nothing but a wild, stupid boar. No matter what could have been said or done, nothing would have changed his mind. Nonetheless, Ashitaka does his very best to teach truth to San and Lady Eboshi, but his efforts do not work until the very end of the film, when the two women can see more clearly the truths of their actions. Number 7. Heroes are firm in the faith in Christ. Christ does not exist in this fantasy world. However, Ashitaka strives his very best for everyone to work in peace and unity, to put aside the anger and conflict and work together. For man and nature to be one, he strives for everyone to live a higher law, just as he did and everyone else in his village. I'm not going to hold against Ashitaka not being faithful to Christ when it is a fantasy world. However, the great forest spirit can very much be associated with Christ. He heals and kills at times when it seems unjust or unfair. Ashitaka defends and submits himself to the choices that the forest spirit makes, maybe not truly understanding its choices, but nonetheless recognizing its awesome powers and its very existence is absolutely vital to everyone on the planet to survive. How it needs to be protected and understood. That destroying the great forest spirit will not make things better for everyone, but in fact make things and the balance of all things worse off, which is exactly the case. For this, heroes recognize the truth that trusting in Christ brings better results than can be concocted by man. And number 8. Heroes swear an oath to defend their people, country, and religion, even till death. Ashitaka puts his life on the line several times for the sake of saving 2 wounded footmen to an entire town of people who oppose his thoughts on peace and commonality. It doesn't matter to him. Everyone Ashitaka meets, he views their right to peace and freedom as rights everyone should be blessed with. As I mentioned before, at the climax of the film, the decapitated great forest spirit's body is touching and killing both plants, animals, and men alike. Yet Ashitaka literally runs to the great forest spirit to return its head, knowing full well that the consequence would be his end. Ashitaka is a hero. That's all I've got to say about that. So, go on, be a hero, and lighten someone's burden today. Goodbye!